I know you are really excited to see us both this morning, ready to steer you for this 4-hour package of the AM show. Benjamin, it's really good to have you back.
It's good to be back, and first day I'm back and we're sort of almost matching colors. I looked at it and thought, wow, when is this? But anyway, it does feel good to be back.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And I want to start this morning by telling you that you are the salt of the world. Don't lose your saltiness. You know that verse in the Bible, Benjamin? But yeah, this is the AM show. Welcome aboard. And this morning, we'll start by serving you the AM news. And then after that, we get into our news review segments. Kofi Akpalu, the leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana, as well as Nana Yachapim Jantua, the former General Secretary of the CPP, are joining us to review the newspapers and the stories that resonate with you and I.
Well, right after that, we'll serve you sports, and then we segue into our big stories. And starting off this morning, we're talking about keeping the democratic record of peaceful elections and transitions. The question, how do we ensure safety in this politically charged atmosphere as we inch ever closer to December 2024? That election, it's seemed to be the turning point or the most competitive in the history of our country. But how do we navigate properly to get there? We'll be talking to Sheikh Shaibu, who is spokesperson for the National Chief Imam, on the need to keep the peace of the land intact. You don't want to miss that discourse. And then we'll bring you some updates on the biggest story in the country. I'm talking about Galamsey illegal mining and the effect it's having on our water bodies, the fishes and all that. And there's pushback from the Small Scale Miners Association as the Ghana Medical Association is calling on the President, Dan Akufo-Addo, to urgently place a ban on small-scale mining as a result of the wanton destruction of our forest reserves and water bodies. But the association is saying that the call is misguided. Illegal mining is not a small-scale mining. So we'll delve into the issues and what really is the way forward in terms of that. You want to stay with us, and when we open the phone lines, you join us with your comments and your thoughts. But for now, follow us on all social media platforms at Joy News on TV. Benjamin Akako. Well, let's recap it off. Interesting thought. You know, the head of the Minerals Commission has waded into this bit about illegal mining and, if it's a wholesale ban and all of that. But I say, if it's going to be a wholesale ban, and it will bring some sanity to our environment, why not? If it's going to be wholesale and then gradually you streamline and bring those who ought to be back. I know how much the small-scale miners contribute, but makes no sense what we're doing to our environment. We must start from somewhere. Yeah, and those three demands from the association, I mean, those, groups of people, Benjamin, I don't know if it will see the daylight, but this is where we are. Anyway, stay with us. Sweetie Abochi serves you the news up next. And of course, we have business as a part of that. You want to stay? We'll be right back. Welcome to the program. This is the AM News. Details now. The newly elected flag bearer of the People's National Convention, that is the PNC, Bernard Mona, has pledged to prioritize listening to the concerns of Ghanaians and fighting for their cause as president. He made this announcement after securing a landslide victory with 1,138 votes in the party's primaries, defeating his opponent, David Apasara. There is more in this report.
Speaking at his victory, Mr. Mona called on his key contender and incumbent chairman, David Apasara, to join hands for the battle ahead to help the party win power.
This victory is not the end. It is the beginning. The real work starts now. Ghanaians are fed up with the MPP and the NDC musical chairs. PNC, under the leadership of Bernard Mona, will change the status quo and break the genes and put smiles on the faces of all Ghanaians. To my competitor, the Honorable David Apasara, in this just ended National Delegates Congress, I call on you to join me as we work to address the challenges ahead. The challenges ahead do not take any side. Hence, I call on you, all party members and all those who separated from us, to quickly join ranks with the PNC and the BAM for Change agenda. Let us come together put aside our differences and build a brighter future for all.
The PNC Congress, which was initially scheduled to start at 9 a.m., faced delays due to an injunction filed by David Apasera's camp. Some party activists were incensed by the developments at the end of the presidential primaries, creating tensions at the Congress.
Let us go to president. Listen, let us go to president. President. Ambassador has 5. One has 125.
Agents for various aspirants challenged the results declared by the Electoral Commission.
Flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress has, as a part of his tour of the Bono East region, reiterated his party's commitment towards scrapping the betting tax when voted into office. In his address to party faithfuls in Nkwabeng in the Nkranza South constituency, Mr. Mahama, however, cautioned the youth to use their winning bonuses wisely and not to waste the monies on irrelevant ventures. And Asabit has more in this report.
Throughout his tour of the Bono East Enclave, the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama highlighted key policies in the NDC 2024 Resetting Ghana Manifesto. One of those messages that resonated well with the people, particularly the youth, is his promise of scrapping the betting tax.
Ezu betting tax, you be here for Ezu Mamoto Betuno.
The announcement, which was warmly welcomed by the teeming youth here in the Nkranza municipality, where the First Lady, Mrs. Modina Mahama, hailed from, was, however, met with this important advice.
Eso Mesremo, ma konta fo amo wini bet no. Yenje tuwa waso no Mesremo, mo wini bet na mo fanya adepa. Mama Falco, yeah, life, mo fanya adepa Mesremo. Ezu.
In addition to the abolishment of the betting tax, the former president also mentioned that the e-levy will be scrapped to bring relief to users of mobile money platforms.
Ezu. E-levy, yebe e-levy efiho. Ezu. Enti wo de mobile phone echo na auto adia wo betimi de mobile phone etua 1.5% tax aban je no ye be ye free ho se na be ye nje wo hwe.
At least the unemployed youth who are into betting will now heave a sigh of relief, as they will now enjoy their winning bonuses without paying a dime out of it as tax. And as it, Joy News, Nkranza.
In other stories, former President John Dramani Mahama has revealed that the long-standing feud between the NDC and the Atebubu Traditional Council has been resolved. It would be recalled that the NDC MP for the area, Sanja Nanja, has been banned from campaigning in the area over some derogatory comments allegedly made against the Queen Mother of Atebubu Traditional Council prior to the 2016 election. Mr. Mahama was thankful to the authorities and assured them that his government would help address the socio-economic challenges of the people. And Asabit again.
The Atebubu Mountain Traditional Council, prior to the 2016 general elections, placed a ban on the then Member of Parliament for the area, Sanja Nanja, over some comments made by the MP on the local radio station deemed as derogatory to the Queen Mother of the area. The prolonged feud between the NDC candidate and the traditional authorities contributed to the MP's loss of the 2016 parliamentary polls. Even though the famous NDC candidate won the 2020 elections convincingly, There were still cracks between the NDC and the traditional authorities in the area until Mr. John Dramani Mahama, in his recent visit to the area, disclosed that the long-standing beef between the two factions have been resolved for the growth of the Atilwa Mountain constituency and the country at large.
Yenim say mrene dru na yebeda mo ase say ni ameka ene enkabom asem yesi enkabom ema ekudimdie na minim say emre atwemu na ensemsem kakra eba yene nananum ntem but eyeme de eyeme ahohoaho say enne yene nananum akabom I just say na ya ba ho ohimpon Dr. Siama wayeti se minu aketwa I just say meneno yentem yie enti me pese obi hu se enne aye ka say NDC ne atebubo ya ba ho ya ba ho asembia eni yentem enti mi ogidie se yaka abomu edie na entiase be yedwuma na yeto abana yebeto ama JM na minua ketwa ono so gina won ha sanya nanja mo MP no mato abano so amano.
The NDC flag bearer admonished the people to vote for the NDC in both parliamentary and presidential elections to help attract the needed development to the area.
Na wo hwe se me ye gonja ni am ye atebubu this year. Ejuma ye be ye wo ha me be ye mampanya me pese mode osono ba bia be ba be di mechi enti mesre mo odwan ene ne ba nenam osono ne ba nenam odwan ene osono ba ennam enti mesre mo ye me president me ba na odi mechi no a me ne ko ye ejuma ama mo no monto aba ema no ono so na ondi mechi na ye ko ye ejuma ama mo.
He accused the NPP of failing to execute its campaign promises and asked that the next NDC government will help bring relief to the people.
Enti umse enyoma bebre asai. Omo baye Ghana ha. Frank Gwejuma ye de sha omonsa. Ye de 2 new oil wells and de beka ho. And ye de mamo. E de 100,000 barrels of oil ebeka ho. I just say e de sika efri amano neba eno so mo ntimi anhwe so enti ni na egu enti yese mo kwatran se na mo nje mo ahome efi se baby amunim die ebedru no mo adru ho mo ni adwen bia mo de beka ho enti mo kwaje mo ahome na NDC embeje ni esa mpeja Ghana na Ghana mfa no tuma pamfra
Anna Sabit, Joy News, Atibu.
Moving on, member of the National Media Commission and senior lecturer at the Simon Diodom University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Africanus Diodom, is urging journalists to move away from protocol journalism, which mostly feed electorates with speeches from so-called big men, which are without critical interpretation of campaign events and messages that they try to influence the press with. He noted that critical interpretation and analysis differentiate outstanding media men and women from their peers. Professor Africanus made a statement at the maiden Upper West Region's GJA Awards in Wa, and Joy News Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
The Ghana Journalists Association 2023 Best Journalist Awards for the Upper West Region brought together major stakeholders in the media space in the country to award journalists who have excelled in the previous year in their field of work. 2 senior journalists who are on retirement were also given citations for their contributions to the development of the media in the region. It was held on the theme Sustaining Ghana's Democracy before, during, and after the 2024 elections, the role of peace journalism. Member of the National Media Commission and senior lecturer at the Simon Diodom University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Africanus Diodom, who was the keynote speaker, underscored the important role played by the media in the country and has therefore urged for them to be empowered to perform their mandatory tasks.
It is high time that journalists shifted from protocol journalism, which mostly feeds on electrodes with speeches from so-called big men without critical interpretations of campaign events and such messages that they try to influence the press or the public with. It must be noted that critical and analytical stories, and above all, investigative pieces, differentiate outstanding media men and women from their peers.
Vice Chairman of the GJA in the Upper West region, Shaibu Ibrahim Bamanjo, expressed worry over the low number of members of the association, calling on the GJA to have the ante to get more members into their fold.
It is sad to relate how the regional branch of Ghana Journalists Association here is often called upon to either mediate or call erring members to order, only for the regional association executives to step in and realize that the affected person or persons is or are not registered members of the association, let alone being in good standing order. Now, Chairman, in the Upper West region here, members in good standing are not more than 12 on the last count, with a plethora of media houses. It is my belief that if membership registration process is strengthened and boosted by the National Secretariat, as said earlier, the narrative will change and bring up many more members on board the Ghana Journalists Association.
Upper West Region Minister Stephen Yakubu, in a speech read on his behalf by Chief Director at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, Peter M. Mala, urged the media to play their watchdog role effectively to ensure peaceful polls in the 2024 general elections.
Elections are a test of the strength of our democratic institutions, and the media must ensure that this process is conducted with transparency, fairness, and integrity. It is through the media's vigilance that the public can have confidence in the electoral process and the outcomes it produces.
National organizer of the GJA, Dominic Holosi, called on security agencies and the judiciary to work assiduously to protect the rights of journalists in the country.
The judiciary, the security services, particularly the Ghana Police Service, must ensure the safety of journalists in this tension-packed electioneering period. Let me also indicate, however, that the media must aim for fairness, impartiality, and accuracy in reporting while avoiding sensationalism in the run-up to the 2024 elections.
The ceremony was chaired by the Paramount Chief of the non-traditional area, now Professor Edmund Delechiri VIII.
The media must inform and educate the electorate to enable them to make good choices. The media must also refrain from sowing seeds of discord, particularly among political opponents. Sometimes, even when there is no problem, some journalists and media houses would deliberately light the fire to set people and political parties ablaze.
The event was organized by the GJA in partnership with USAID, Feed the Future Policy Link. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
Rafiq Salam also emerged as the overall Journalist of the Year in that awards event. But in other stories, Multimedia Group has won big at the 35th Chartered Institute of Marketing Performance Awards night. The group swept 3 awards, including Media Group of the Year, Online Portal of the Year for My Joy Online, and Radio Program of the Year for Asempa FM's Eco-Season Show. Here are some highlights.
The awards, which has become the standard for measuring marketing excellence in Ghana, brought all those who matter in the corporate space together at the plush Labadi Beach Hotel. Multimedia Group on that night won all the awards when it comes to the media space. Here is the announcement that preceded the awards presentation for that night.
Media Organization of the Year 2023.
The winner of this award is Multimedia Ghana Limited. Congratulations to you. Multimedia Ghana Limited. Please, let's go this way and smile at it. Are their faces we know? Yes, we do. Congratulations to you, Multimedia Ghana Limited. You are the Media Organization of the Year 2023, the year under review. God bless you. Keep winning and keep shining. The Online News Portal of the Year 2023 goes to My Joy Online.
Or access the YouTube channel for video on demand and live streaming of Joy News, Ghana's first and only 24-hour news channel. Listen to live radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, My Joy Online is the online news portal of the year 2023. And there they come again. Let's smile. Thanks for doing us the good job, bringing the news closer to us everywhere.
Also, the radio program of the year went to Asempa FM's show Ekosiseng. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Jivenu's special feature on the plight of 2 disabled students at the University of Ghana won the Presidential Special Award.
Congratulations to all of you, Miss Esther Boidu, Miss Felicity Ajure, and of course, our journalist, Mr. Emmanuel Kwashi Jivenu, who went all out to break the story for the world to see. We love you three, and we will continue to pray and support you as well. God bless you, and God bless you, and God bless you.
The National Science and Maths Quiz program, put together by Primetime Limited, which is also heavily partnered by Multimedia Group, won the TV program of the year. The overall marketing company of the year went to MTN Ghana. In a related development, the managing director of Labadi Beach Hotel, David Duafo, was adjudged the marketing man of the year at the CIMG Awards night. Mr. Duafo dedicated the award to the staff and workers of the hotel.
These accolades are not only a testament to individual effort, but also a reflection of the collective dedication, innovation, and teamwork that drive success in our various industries.
Managing Director of Primetime Limited, Anekwa Mensah-Bonsu, was also adjudged the Marketing Woman of the Year. This is what she had to say after the award.
This award means the world to me, not only to me, but to my family as well, because Primetime is a family business, and my father started the National Science and Maths Quiz, and I have been running it since 2013. He didn't win Marketing Man of the Year for the program, so for it to materialize, for him to see this kind of recognition given to me in his lifetime, it's a great thing for him to. In fact, when I got the message, I was in shock and he was excited. He was over the moon.
Congratulations to all the winners at the 35th CIMG Marketing Performance Awards.
Like I earlier mentioned, let me bring you that story of where Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam had been adjudged as the best journalist in the Upper West region. He beat 7 other journalists in the region to win that award. And apart from being the overall winner, he also won the best health reporter in the region. In 2018, Rafiq Salam was adjudged the best journalist in feature stories in the northern sector of the country. Here are some excerpts.
Having bagged 2 citations in the first and second quarter of the year from the Upper West Regional Hospital and the Upper West Regional Health Directorate, recognizing the significant contribution and impact he has brought to the sector through his reportage, it was therefore not surprising when he was adjudged the best Ghana Journalists Association's best health reporter in the region. In March 2023, when doctors at the Wild West District Hospital were conducting surgeries using malfunctioning lamp, it was the report of Rafiq Salam that brought the situation to the attention of the public, eliciting support from the Edward Boachi Trust Fund. The trust came to the aid of the hospital, doling out 35,000 Ghana cedis, enabling the hospital to buy 2 lamps.
I did 2 stories. One has to do with Memona. Remember the story that I did about Memona when she left school and then was looking for 50 Ghana cedis to enable her pay for her WASI exam. And then we followed the story, and then she got back to school. She was not able to make it to the tertiary level. But the people who were supporting her from the UK, and then also the former High Court judge, has to take her to a fashion shop because she wanted to be a fashion designer. And then she's now come out as a fashion designer with excellence.
This award undoubtedly goes to the man, Rafiq Salam. Rafiq Salam once again sharing the glory with his beautiful wife. This is a woman who has the patience to allow him.
Elated Rafiq Salam shared his thoughts on the awards.
Comes along with a lot of responsibility. That clearly means that I have to improve on a lot, and also getting more voices of the people, the challenges that people are facing, and then also for the development of the region. So I'm highly elated for this, and I also want to thank the multimedia group for the platform giving me, the team in Wa, Asalat, Dan, and then also Lutuf for being the backbone that supported me over the years to do all the things that I'm doing, and also not forgetting of my lovely princess, my wife, who sometimes I have to wake up deep in the night to do voiceovers for me. So I want to thank everybody for the support and encouragement for this day.
There were 7 awards for 7 other journalists that included Ibrahim Wangara of TV3, Lydia Darlington of Ghanaian Times, and Philip Tenzu. There were also citations for Bajin Pobia of GNA and Ivan Audu Domasa for their contribution in the media space in the country. The day actually belonged to Rafiq Salam and the multimedia group, having in 2018 won the SNV Voice for Change Best Feature Story for the northern sector of the country.
Up next is Business Update.
Welcome to our business updates. And on our first story, Regional Director of CUTS International, Apia Kusi Abdomako, is urging cement manufacturers to seek legal redress from the Supreme Court following the passage of the LI seeking to regulate prices of cement. Speaking on Business Live, Mr. Abdomako said the Trade Ministry's approach was wrong and far from protecting consumers.
If the minister is bent on protecting consumers and businesses in Ghana, the best approach that the minister could have used is to pursue the consumer protection law. This consumer protection law has been in with the ministry for the past 19 years. Honorable Katie Hammond came to inherit the draft bill and has not done anything about it. And look at how he was so keen in getting this LI done. So you said you are protecting consumers in getting a better price. I think the minister is getting it wrong. I would say that he should rather pursue the consumer protection law, pursue the competition and fair trade practices bill. These 2 laws are the best antidote to every sector we have in this country. Even on the legality of the LI is also an issue, because when you look at the provisions in the GSA Act, which mandates the minister to go to Parliament to pass with an LI, the issue of pricing is not included in the work within that subsection, I think section 80 of the GSA Act. And so if people go to Supreme Court, the Supreme Court can easily nullify the whole LI that it's not rooted in law, because the work of Ghana Standard Authority does not include price regulation. Standard authorities are there for quality and technical specifications and standards, not pricing. So the law itself is even wrong. And I urge members of the industry to go to Supreme Court to challenge its validity.
Well, the Ghana Cocoa Board says the new cocoa crop season will be opened with its proposed self-financing plan without the usual syndicated loan facilities. Finance Minister Dr. Amin Adam earlier indicated that the government would be seeking external funding to support the cocoa sector. But Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Joseph Wahin Aidu, says the board will be combining the new purchasing regime with loan syndications if necessary in anticipation of an effective implementation of this self-financing transition.
I don't think there's anything wrong with, introducing a new thing. But once you have an existing model, you can only combine that model with a new one. And I believe that if it works, then Ghana will go with that model going forward. We've already tried it during the last crop season from June up to the end of August. That was the model that we're using to buy cocoa and then ship. And it has worked. But we want to scale it. So even as we may be going for, loan, because when you talk about syndication, it's like going to borrow.
Up next, we serve you our currency market for the day. And that's it for our business updates. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
And that's how we're wrapping up for the AM News on the AM Show. Coming up next is our news review segment. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back in a jiff. It's Monday. You're live on the AM Show on Joy News. Let's get into the stories making the waves and have been captured in the various newspapers. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Take a seat. And my guest this morning is Kofi Akpaloo, the leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana, and Nanaya Achepem Jantua, former General Secretary of the CPP. Nanaya, how are you doing this morning? Kofi Akpaloo.
Yes, my dear.
How is it going at your party, the Liberal LPG? How is it going?
Oh, it's going very, very well.
Have you filed your nomination yet?
We'll file this morning, 9:30.
Okay.
Yeah. I think MPP will do theirs at 9.
In fact, all of them, the NDC and the MPP, will be filing this morning. I mean, today, Monday.
NDC will do 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have the itinerary?
Yeah.
No, this time they called us, and then they asked everybody when you are filing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you are on at 9?
9:30.
Okay.
9 is MPP.
All the very best.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me start with you then, since we are getting into it. What's on your mind, apart from filing your nomination to be president?
On my mind today is to see the young people getting jobs. Yeah, because I think that is the problem here. And some of our leaders are not able to provide the needed jobs to our young men and women. So it's my worry that we create the environment for the young people to be able to break through here in Ghana. We have to create opportunities. We have to turn Ghana into a land of opportunities, whereby a young person can have confidence that, hey, I can make it right here without necessarily traveling or indulging in belting, because at this if you hear the major parties, they are all talking about reduction of betting tax and also
scrapping it.
Meaning that they can't create the jobs. So they want the young guys to indulge in that, which is strong.
I'm looking forward to seeing your manifesto and how you plan to also create jobs, like you say. We've seen the major, manifestos. We've seen even some of the other parties release their manifesto. When should we expect yours?
I'm inviting you to our manifesto launch. That will be 21st of September at Ola Senior High School in Ho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where we'll be doing it. So we want to see the Joy News there. This time, come and take live coverage.
You speak ever?
I speak small.
You're going to Ola?
Yeah, Ola Senior High School. That's where we are having our lunch.
His name is Apalo and he speaks small ever.
Because I was born and brought up in Kumasi. So definitely the environment where you grew up.
The Echigba. I love Echigbo.
Don't worry, when I get there.
Nanaya, what's on your mind?
Yeah.
Okay, but thank you for those thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Nanaya.
Good morning and good morning to your viewers. Good morning to yourself. Good morning to my brother here. He's my brother.
Yeah.
But he's not correct.
Because I'm not supporting your party, CPP.
Sweetie, what is on my mind is Galamsey.
I've
had sleepless nights after seeing all the videos and the catfish struggling for their life. I wanted to know which river is that one, but it is something that we have to have a nationalistic view instead of having a partisan view. I was very mortified when I saw the MPP and NDC in Parliament arguing over who did it better, who did the crime better.
Yeah.
And I heard Anodompre saying that
the NDC destroyed more water bodies than
it was very heart-wrenching to hear somebody like that speak like that. And it is so sad that this country has come to this point. The most serious one and the most dreadful one is where the river at Shama has entered the sea. And the sea that is supposed to be blue, that we even have a color called sea blue, has become brownish. And then we see we share borders with other nations, and we are talking about a diplomatic row. Because if this seeps into the portions of the sea on our borders, the Gulf of Guinea, then it means we are in trouble.
And I watched Samson Ladiayenene paint the picture. He did a 3D graphic
Into
showing
the
us
future.
of the current state of our forest reserves and water bodies.
Yes.
And it was a face in palm moment for me.
Yes.
It is bad.
No,
it is terrible.
Bad.
It shows
it is just out of this world.
And it turns out that some of these forest reserves are they're part of a commitment that we have made to the world to contribute to our forests, to the protection of the entire. And we are giving out these places so that they're mining, and they're saying that it's not illegal. So, what is your argument?
How is not illegal? You see, the point is that we spend 10 billion Ghana cedis growing trees. Then we devastate. I mean, look at the irony of it. And we tout ourselves that we have grown a certain number of trees all over the place, and we are destroying what we have. And I said that, you see, when I speak, the people will start saying that, she's speaking for NDC. No, but I'm saying that, granted that when the MPP came to power, and then NDC did it worse, and they came to clear the area and stopped Galamsey, and we saw our waters and our rivers blue, wouldn't we congratulate them?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we say that you have done well? That all the things you told us in 2016, that you do it right by Ghanaians, you have done better.
Right.
Because this is one of the things that it should be done right. Because it's about our future, our health.
And not just us alone.
Now our neighbors are going to feel the brunt of our illegality.
Right. Anyway.
And the people who are involved are kingpins. They are people who are big. Because I always say that the gold market out there, international gold market, those young boys sitting down there, they don't have access to the international gold market. Meanwhile, between $6 billion and $22 billion worth of our gold illegally leaves the shores of Ghana. They don't fly. They go through either the ports, air, or seaports.
Yeah.
And who does this transaction? Those who have access to these areas. And it is smuggled. It is done illegally. And nobody is saying anything about it.
Well, now there's a call on the president to
he said
halt.
You put his presidency down.
Oh, that was some years ago. Maybe he didn't know how devastating or how terrible the situation is now.
Why wouldn't you know? You are the president of the nation. You are the vice president of the nation. You don't know what is going on. Now you have children in those areas. Their limbs are off.
Yeah.
When they are born, their limbs are off.
Yeah. Let's get into the...
Can I buy this? We always look at the Galamsey as the only problem. If you're talking about this land degradation and all those kind of stuff, we tend to forget about the fact that the major mining companies are also destroying our lands. the media, just visit those big mining companies and then come off your report. Then you see that we shouldn't attribute everything to these galamseyers. The so-called mining companies, they are destroying everything here.
But I think the emphasis is on the forest reserves and water.
Yeah,
where small-scale mining is taking place.
They are also destroying our forest
Are they doing
reserves.
surface mining? I don't think they are doing surface
Newmont
mining.
is doing surface mining.
Okay, let's get into the newspapers. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the front page, Imani Lord's Electrochem's Songo concession considers it a game changer for Ghana's salt industry. Asante Hene graces Fetua Fashe as rare historic feat and donates 500,000 Ghana cedis to Ogwaman Education Fund. 10 perish in ghastly crash on Mim-Goso Highway. And on election 2024, Baumia Mahama filed presidential nomination forms today. Let's start from Electrochem and how Imani Africa, Mr. Franklin Kujo, is lauding that Electrochem Songo concession. I mean, amidst stories about the salt industry facing threats of collapse because we are still importing salt, I think what Electrochem is doing is laudable. So let's get into the story. It's on page 11 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, and it reads, Imani Africa, a leading policy think tank, has thrown its weight behind Electrochem Limited's concession over the Songo Lagoon, which marks a pivotal moment for Ghana's salt industry. In an article posted on its website under the headline, Prospects of Ghana's Salt Industry, a pathway adding to extra $1 billion in exchange earnings, the think tank outlined the economic benefits of the salt mining project for the country. And Ghana's salt industry, primarily driven by solar evaporation, has been operating well below its potential, despite the country producing around 250 metric tons of salt annually over the last decade. Exports in 2022 amounted to just 4.36 million Ghana cedis, a mere 0.022% of Ghana's total exports. Electrochem is giving licenses and concessions actually to small groups in the Adang and somewhere in the Songo area to mine salt, and they are sort of commercializing it so that they can package well and export, so that at least we don't have to be importing salt. Imani Africa is saying this is a good thing that Electrochem is doing. Nanaya, what do you say?
Oh, as long as the material, the material or the resources there for us to export.
We do have it.
Yes.
We have the sea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do we have the sea? Galamsey
everywhere.
And internet. Very soon we won't even have the salt to.
Right.
But if they are doing it for importation, then what is the structure of Electrochem? Is it a wholly Ghanaian company, or is it a foreign company?
I think we have Ghanaian. It's Ghanaian, but we have some foreign investments over there.
It would have been good for us to know the structure, who owns what, because you see, anytime, that is what we are talking about, anytime we allow foreigners to come and mine our natural resources, and at the end of the day, they make money out of it, and Ghanaians are left with nothing. It is a good thing, but for me, before I can commend any company, I do want to know the structure, that's who owns it and what is the structure like. But any venture,
it's a wholly owned Ghanaian company.
Okay, then
wholly owned Ghanaian company.
That is great. It's a 100% Ghanaian owned. Yes, it's very great, and we commend them for what they have done, and also the kind of the cooperatives that they are putting together for the indigents and other people to also get into some kind of business. And I also encourage young people to also get into it, so that they can get jobs to do. The formal sector is choked. There's not. You see, every time when they finish school, we all wanted to work in the government sector. And sometimes for me, if I look back, I tell my children that I stayed too long in the government sector. Yes, I started when I was very, very young. I finished university and I was wholly young. Immediately I finished, I got a job. So I look back and I say that after GIPC, maybe I should have left. I shouldn't have continued. So I also encourage some of the, since it's a wholly Ghanaian, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the government should support them. Whatever they need to be supported, they should be supported to do the right thing, to create jobs and also to mine our natural resource. That is the salt.
Yeah.
That would also bring some income to us, the nation, and to everybody, and also put our name out there. Yes. They should make it Ghana basalt.
Ah, well. Have we finished buying Ghana rice and Ghana...
But if they start, it will be good.
Ah, well. Mr. Palu?
Yeah, I think I'm in support of this electrochems investment. If it's 100% owned by a Ghanaian, I don't have a problem. I don't even care about who that Ghanaian is. So far as it's owned by a Ghanaian,
yeah.
I'm 100% for it. And we have to also look at its other usage, apart from using it for food and whatever. What can we do that we can add value to them so that other companies can also spring up to also be buying from the company and add value to them. And I believe that will also create jobs and it will create wealth for our economy.
Okay, so Ghana Liberia Fire Services to enhance fire safety management. And the fire services, yes,
Ghana.
That's why I wanted to get into the story. So the fire services of Ghana and Liberia have affirmed their commitment to sharing ideas and expertise to help advance fire safety management in their respective countries. This, they said, would ensure the safety of lives and promote economic development. And the two agencies affirmed their commitments with Colonel Bavu Wawusa, Chief Fire Officer of Liberia, paid a courtesy call on the Chief Fire Officer Julius Alab Kure Kwono in Accra yesterday. It took us, 4 days or 5 days to put out that fire at Makola, and we are saying we are committed to doing what again?
Maybe
I don't
on paper, not in practice.
Reports of even no tenders in certain strategic areas, no access to water or inadequate water.
Yes.
And we are pledging commitments to who?
Ask Kofi here in the US, if somebody is stuck in a lift, they call the fire people. If you are stuck on the...
Even accident,
they call the fire people.
The high-rise buildings we have, Nana, yes. I don't think that we have enough, what's it called? Ladders that are tall enough to reach those places.
The Zongo Lane was 1 floor. They couldn't get the stairs or the flight of stairs to get to the top to quench the fire.
It took 4 days.
It took 4 days, and now the place has collapsed. Unless, of course, somebody is interested in rebuilding that place into something else. And maybe something was orchestrated. Because to me, it does not make sense that the fire service, they were just looking unconcerned on TV. It was just, they're not unconcerned, they were perplexed. They didn't know how to quench the fire. And maybe, you see, that is a very strategic area. So somebody maybe has occasion. I don't know, me, I'm just guessing.
And I don't know where you are talking about.
Zongo Lane, Makola.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, that fire that's... You didn't follow the story?
Hey. No, when did it happen?
Hey, Kofi President.
You want to be president?
Know what your people are doing.
No, when did it happen?
Hey, Your Excellency, this one you are...
Right. Let's quickly move on.
Last week, Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I was at OT.
Okay. OT, there's television in OT.
Let's move on from this. So, Asantehene Grace's Fatal Affair. Sometimes I think that we are not the target audience of these state institutions, and when they're waxing lyrical about how... like, for instance, the president talks about how we should look within for funds and investments rather than going to external creditors. And we should not, and then fire service saying they're committed to this. You hear? And I'm asking, we here in the country, though, how are you ensuring that these words are reconciled with the actions that we are experiencing here?
Because it is not practical. So fire service, they don't have anything. They are not well resourced. These are just words. And imagine Liberia coming to you. They themselves, where are they standing? She gets me. So
they paid a courtesy call on us.
This is academic, so let's just treat it as an academic exercise.
Asantehene Grace's Fatal Afashe Festival as a rare historic feat and donate 500,000 to Ogwaman Education Fund. So, Nanaya, it was a rare historic feat as the Asantehene Otumpo Setutu II joined the people of Cape Coast to celebrate this year's Fatal Afashe at Cape Coast in the Central Region. And the Asantehene who attended the program by a special invitation from the Omanhin of the Ogwa traditional area was accompanied by a large retinue of chiefs from Asante-Man, marking the 25th anniversary commemoration of the enthronement of Osaberema Kwesi Atta II of the Omanhin of the Ogwa traditional area. I'm just interested in this 500,000 Ghana cedi donation to the education fund. I think it's beautiful, but more often than not, these monies are donated and you don't actually see that they are actually benefiting the intended beneficiaries. It ends up in somebody's pocket, but let's just ensure that the money goes to where it's supposed to go. That is true. And it was a beautiful ceremony. I catch excerpts on social media. I don't know if you saw some of it.
No, I wanted to go, but I mean something happened and I couldn't make it.
Oh, okay.
But I mean it is good. Otunfo donated 500,000 to the
Ogwaman Educational Fund.
And the Ghana traditional area, they also have an educational fund.
Yeah.
And he donated, and I mean it's good. It's a good initiative, but as I said, it should be used for the intended destiny. But I also want to say that when other chiefs are coming to Ashanti, Otunfo has an educational fund. So as it gives, they should also give it to us. Do you get me?
It's like Ghana president going to America.
I think they think he's rich, you know, so he doesn't.
No, but you can't say that. I mean, they all have paramountcy.
No.
So I am saying that he's doing great. He's doing good.
Yeah.
No,
but I mean,
Otunfo doesn't need it.
Who told you?
No, he doesn't need it.
Oh, please.
He doesn't need it from
It's
them.
not for him.
It's not for him.
It's an education fund for the people.
Yes, he has an education. He has an educational fund.
The educational fund.
Yes.
Otunfo educational fund doesn't need money from these chiefs too.
What is this chief?
But why would you say he doesn't?
Why he doesn't need it?
He is supposed to help them. Okay, so allow the small ones that they have.
Oh, what is small ones?
To develop their
Okay, Mr.
area.
Palu, let's put a pin in there because you cannot call any other traditional small.
No, what I'm saying is
let me quickly run through the Ghanaian time, the back page, and I'll come to you. Time to redeem image of the Black Stars, Kotoko and Karela winless streak. Holy Stars upset hearts. These are just from the world of sports.
I saw some upset hearts.
Where?
On TV, they were not happy.
Can I have?
Okay, Nana, let's get into the New Finder newspaper.
How do you want the front page or
the stories and then one story in there?
Ghana economists' woes persist. This is by Michael Koba, who is with the Sea Energy. Then inflation to end at 20.8% Fitch. Then cocoa, gold, crude oil face mixed fortunes. Federal rate cuts with ease. Pressure on ailing CD.
Which of these stories do you want us to get into?
All of them. They're all talking about the economy. Inflation to end at 20.8% Fitch. You see, from 54% to 20.8%, if they are real figures, fine. But I always say that this one, it doesn't support reality.
How so?
Yes, the data does not support reality. They said that, when I talk about, they said inflation is about gradual increases in prices, even if I take that definition. Do you get me? There is no gradual increases in prices. It's not gradual. There's a whooping increase in prices. And sometimes I wonder what this is, where it's coming from. Because when actually you go to the market to go and buy, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and the person was saying that with 2,000 cedis, she couldn't do everything on her shopping list with a family of 4. 4 children and 2 husband and wife, 6.
With 2,000 Ghana cedis?
Yes, 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Was she looking to shop for a week, a month, a day?
She was looking to shop for a week for the family. And she said she couldn't do all that she was supposed to do. But if inflation is like this, you see, prices that were high in a year ago are higher this year. So how do we reconcile the two? How do we reconcile the two? And it's also tied into Ghana's economic woes. They always tell us that we are turning the corner. Things are getting on right. We are okay. But we are not.
You're saying that although they are calculating these based on the percentage on maybe cost of food items and other things over a period of time, it doesn't actually reflect. Well, there is that hike in food prices all over.
When you look into it, the food inflation is always high. Then you look at the food inflation as even they add the food basket, grapes and all that. But when you look, if you are going to break this down, you notice that what is driving it is the food inflation and transportation, which is linked to fuel.
Yeah, everything is connected.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
So these two components are not coming down. So then how do you get this? Maybe I'm not an economist, but it does not make sense because the data does not support reality. Ghana's economic woes, yes, they still persist in spite of everything that they are saying. And as somebody said in the paper, they are saying that maybe debt relief is the way forward. Because if you look at the enormity of our debt,
over 700 billion.
700 billion Ghana cedis is our debt. And we need to know what this money has been used for. Because even if somebody gives you money, it is what you have used the money for that will encourage the person to say that you invested the money very well. It become a sunk cost because of maybe A, B, C, D indicators. So I will give it to you. But you see, the time has come for us to even move away from all these money that we go borrowing around.
Right.
We have cap in hand are borrowing. We need to stop it because the kind of resources that we have, if we tap into it, we don't need to go borrowing.
All right.
We've gone for $3 billion from the IMF. Meanwhile, illegal gold that leaves our shores is $6 billion to $22 billion every year.
In summary, the money is here.
Yes, the money
the means
is here.
to make the money is here. But somehow, that's why most of these stalwarts will tell you that it's Ghana's problems is simply a result of failure of leadership.
And mismanagement. Leadership is cause. Every other is the effect of leadership. And we have one person sitting here who wants to be a president.
Mr. Palu.
Who doesn't know that a building has bent? Your own people.
Mr. Palu, any reflections on these stories and we get into your newspaper?
No, why should I know everything?
Ask him.
Am I a magician?
No, but you see, you are actually asking Ghanaians to vote for you.
But I shouldn't know everything.
You know
you shouldn't know everything.
No,
but this is a story that was very
actually
widely published all over because
it concerns traders, it concerns people's livelihood.
You see,
and the fire was there, the smoke was there for 4 days. People had to wear nose masks
and the building has collapsed.
Eventually,
I told you, I said I was at OT region, and I didn't know anything about. That's what I was asking.
That's fine. Let's get into your.
I don't need to know everything happening in Ghana.
You have to.
No, it's not. It's not.
Mr. Palu, do you think Ghanaians listening to you right now would really understand what you're saying, and
they should know that I'm not. No,
you didn't get any hint at all of this story.
You are just telling me.
All right.
You are just telling me because I don't need to know everything happening in Ghana.
The important things.
At the moment, I'm not president of Ghana, so I don't get any what do you call it? Reports whatsoever on a daily basis. So when I become president, they'll be putting everything on my desk and I'll be able to know. So let me become president first. Ghanaian publisher. I'm not seeing anything serious here.
Give us the stories on the front page first, please.
Because I think we discussed all of them. The salt industry, and then also the galamsey.
But the story, this says Jinapod. We need to know what's on the front page.
The front page. Okay. Publisher, the Ghanaian publisher. Salt industry has for major breakthrough. Imani applause electrochems investment. Okay. And then Jinapor summons ministers to emergency Galamsey meeting. Okay, so I think the regional ministers are going to be, they're going to meet the regional ministers and okay. And Joe Wise rally support for Poku Aduse as successor.
Who is Poku Aduse?
I don't know who that Poku Aduse is.
It's not in your party, so don't worry.
Can we get into the story on Jinapor summoning the ministers? Just briefly.
And then Yana.
It's not in my party, so.
Yana also hails Nadmo boss.
Okay.
And then Bawumia will listen to you.
Samira.
Okay, so the story about Jinapor briefly, and then we go. We have just a couple of minutes.
I think if you look here, you have 3 pictures of the regional ministers. There is the Western regional minister, the Eastern regional minister, and Ashanti regional minister. I think that's where the Galamsey is happening. Yeah. I think they should have brought in the Central regional minister because Central region too. There's so I think it's something that he said the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources Samuel Abujinapo has called an urgent meeting with all 16 regional ministers to address the devastating effects of illegal mining, known locally as galamsey. The meeting.
What do you think about it, the stakeholder meeting?
I think they should have. They shouldn't have invited the Volta regional minister because Volta region there's no galamsey there.
Yeah, but still, you don't know when it will start.
And I don't think there's anything in Accra here. Accra, do they do galamsey in Accra?
No,
okay, let me quickly run through the stories on other papers. And the custodian, Sidnet alerts government on bad Sisala roads. Baumia files for presidency today. Joe Wise endorses successor Ralph Poku Edusei. And Kozie is my choice for Adentan, according to Baumia. I like it when the women are leading the charge. Kozie wants to be member of parliament. If you think she deserves it, give her that nod. SNIT pension best retirement package in Ghana, according to the Director General, Mr. Kofi Bosompem Osafumafo. And the Daily Searchlight, and I'll come to you in a bit for your reaction to that. Trouble brews at Labour Ministry. Yeah, I saw that story over the weekend. Ministers' alleged attempts to hijack new Labour Department offices spark war. Let me briefly get into this story because I think it's important. Where do I find it? Yeah, right here. So the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafwewa, is being accused of attempts to hijack the brand new offices of the Labour Department. The new offices, a 4-story building, was built for the Labour Department by the World Bank as part of the Ghana Jobs and Skills Project. And in the year 2020, the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Finance, received financing from, let me skip to the part where it says this new office, now complete and ready for commissioning, that the minister is accused of trying to take over to move his ministry into. Yesterday, an official at the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, Madam Charlotte Hansen, denied knowledge of any such development. So that is that. The Minister for Employment and Labour Relations is being accused of attempts to hijack the new offices that was built for the Labour Department.
It doesn't make sense.
Give me a wrap of your thoughts and then we
No, but it doesn't make sense. How is he hijacking?
He's denied, someone from the ministry is denied the allegations, but
how is he hijacking it? Is he leaving his office to go and say
maybe they want to use it as
they want to put their new offices.
Yeah. They want to use it at the ministry and give the old one to them. Okay, maybe that. But where is the location? Because the Ministry of Labour Relations is within the ministry area. So we need to know where this one is. So that is the building. It looks nice anyway. Maybe they want to use it. Maybe it's well finished, everything. They want to use it for the ministry. Okay, that might be it. But that wouldn't be hijacking. That is swapping.
Exactly.
Mr. Palu, final thoughts?
Yeah. On this.
Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, okay. In fact, regards to...
There was something you read that...
The galamsey thing is something that we should take it serious. You know, my suggestion is that it's hard time we bring all those who are doing galamsey together and ask them to form a company so that they put their resources into that company and then they become a large-scale mining company so that they can compete with these foreign companies. You see, if you add the galamseys, I think they are over $1 million plus. If you ask them to bring, let's say $100, let's say $500, they will get $500 million, and then they can do a serious mining here in Ghana.
We should put a ban on mining totally, I'm telling
you. No, we can't.
We can't leave the minerals in the ground.
No, we can't leave it.
You know, it's also it's a cash cow.
It doesn't matter.
It's about management and regulations.
Yes, we need
to ban mining.
We can't ban mining, but we need to regulate it. Get these young people.
I'm curiously watching to see what the president will do.
You see, because
there's an urgent call on him.
It for maybe
the president, the call.
And look at every contract, look at everything, and reposition it properly. And come back to like what he's talking. If that is what will happen, then we sit down and have a proper
If you ask this giant,
okay, we
giant
have to go.
multinationals,
Thank you so much for joining us. Nana Yatepe Jantwa is the former general secretary of the CPP, and Mr. Kofi Apalu is the leader.
Yes, so we shouldn't agree.
And presidential candidate hopeful of the Liberal Party of Ghana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us for the news review segment. Sports is coming up next. You want to stay for that.
The awards, which has become the standard for measuring marketing excellence in Ghana, but all those who matter in the corporate space to gather at the plush Labadi Beach Hotel. Multimedia Group on that night won all the awards when it comes to the media space. Here is the announcement that preceded the awards presentation for that night.
Media Organization of the Year 2023. The winner of this award is Multimedia Ghana Limited. Congratulations to you. Multimedia Ghana Limited. Please, let's go this way and smile right at it. Are their faces we know? Yes, we do. Congratulations to you, Multimedia Ghana Limited. You are the Media Organization of the Year 2023, the year under review. God bless you. Keep winning and keep shining. The Online News Portal of the Year 2023 goes to My Joy Online.
Or access the YouTube channel for video on demand and live streaming of Joy News, Ghana's first and only 24-hour news channel. Listen to live radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, My Joy Online is the online news portal of the year 2023. And there they come again. Let's smile. Thanks for doing us the good job, bringing the news closer to us everywhere.
Also, the radio program of the year went to Asempa FM's show Ekosiseng. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Jivenu's special feature on the plight of 2 disabled students at the University of Ghana won the Presidential Special Award.
Congratulations to all of you, Miss Esther Boidu, Miss Felicity Ajure, and of course, our journalist, Mr. Emmanuel Kwashi Jivenu, who went all out to break the story for the world to see. We love you three, and we will continue to pray and support you as well. God bless you, and God bless you, and God bless you.
The National Science and Maths Quiz program, put together by Primetime Limited, which is also heavily partnered by Multimedia Group, won the TV program of the year. The overall marketing company of the year went to MTN Ghana. In a later development, the managing director of Labadi Beach Hotel, David Duafo, was adjudged the marketing man of the year at the CIMG Awards night. Mr. Duafo dedicated the award to the staff and workers of the hotel.
These accolades are not only a testament to individual effort, but also a reflection of the collective dedication, innovation, and teamwork that drive success in our various industries.
Managing Director of Primetime Limited, Nane Kwame Nsabunsu, was also adjudged the Marketing Woman of the Year. This is what she had to say after the award.
This award means the world to me. Not only to me, but to my family as well. Because Primetime is a family business. And my father started the National Science and Maths Quiz, and I have been running it since 2013. He didn't win Marketing Man of the Year for the program. So for it to materialize, for him to see this kind of recognition given to me in his lifetime, it's a great thing for him to. In fact, when I got the message, I was in shock and he was excited. He was over the moon.
Congratulations to all the winners at the 35th CIMG Marketing Performance Awards.
She's a 21-year-old student of the University of Ghana. Today, she's busy repairing her bicycle. This bicycle is more than just a mode of transportation. It symbolizes her independence and her commitment to helping others living with disabilities.
My name is Felicity Ajuri-Wedaba. I'm a person living with disability called achondroplasia. I'm unique and special in all my ways and aspects.
Felicity moves her hands with dexterity as she applies a cold patch to her bicycle tire, a skill she learned in order to save money and avoid the hassle of repair shops.
And my mom and dad always advised me to learn how to use those things to repair my bike instead of sending it to the market for repairing.
A bicycle is a lifeline, not just for herself, but for her friend Esther Badu, who is visually impaired.
For my condition there, I thought it was the most tedious one. But when I came to the University of Ghana, I could see that mine was a little bit tough because some of them couldn't see. I thank God for my life, and then I was like, God, I didn't know that my problem was not as much as compared to others. I think I could help them because I can see.
Felicity and Esther's friendship began one Monday morning during the lecture. It was not until the lecture that Felicity discovered Esther's visual impairment.
When I came, I was always in my room. I was like, so how am I going to mingle with people? You know, stigmatization and stuff. Sometimes I would like to speak with someone, but they think being a visually impaired is contagious. So they will not like to come close to you. So when I met Felicity, I was like, wow, I've met, although she's also a person with a disability, but she's helping me a lot.
The way she was looking at me, I thought she could see. I didn't know she was visually impaired. So she asked me for a guideline back to the lecture hall. So I told her that, how can this be? Because I know that you can actually see. Why are you pretending not to see? So she was like, she's a visually impaired, she can't see. So I decided to help her.
And so began a friendship. Every day, Felicity and Esther navigate the sprawling campus together. As Felicity rides, Esther holds her shoulder, guiding her friend to their lecture halls.
Every time I have to help her out by sending her to the lecture halls and all that. It has been a very difficult task for us, but I still insist of helping her by riding her to the lecture halls. Even though our lecture halls is at the top floor.
The photography of the land is not favorable to us. There are gutters, holes, steps and stuff. And she's using her bike. So when we get to gutter, we have to, because she has to get down and help her. I will help her with the bike, carrying it to cross the gutter before we continue. When there are steps, she has to get down. It's stressful.
Their bond extends beyond the classroom. They study, cook, and share laughter during their leisure time. Felicity's heart is filled with compassion, not just for Esther, but for others living with disabilities. She finds joy in assisting her friends, despite the challenges they face.
Other people could see their problem to be contagious. They think that maybe coming in contact with them, they will actually be infected and other stuff. So I decided to be friends with her in order to give her a helping hand.
Their friendship is reciprocal. Esther helps Felicity with tasks like washing dishes and provides academic support, explaining difficult concepts during their study sessions.
Some of the animals also have rivers, lakes, lagoons.
Anywhere she's going, she wants me to go with her, and so do I. Like, we can't go and leave one another. Maybe she'll leave me in the room. When she's going to buy something, she'll be like, Esther, please. And I said, Felicity, how can I visually impaired be? I said, she said, no, I don't care. Let's move together. We move together. So anyway, so I really like, there is this friction between the two of us. Yeah.
Esther too cherishes their friendship, finding strength and comfort in their daily interactions.
It has been fantastic. We sometimes quarrel. Sometimes when it's time for lectures, I'll be tired. We'll not sleep early because we'll study the whole night. Maybe we'll sleep at 2 and stuff. So we had to wake up for the next lecture. She'll come and wake me up. I'll be like, Felicity, why did you come to wake me up? You have to leave me. Then we'll quarrel because of this thing. Then not serious fight stuff. We just fight and yeah. And she's not a kind of person, even if you say something, she'll be angry. She'll just, sometimes I do say something, I'll be like, Felicity, why are you not mad at me? She said, no. Then I'll just apologize and we move on. Yeah, so I really love our friendship.
Their shared moments of joy and mutual support paint a beautiful picture of what friendship truly means. Felicity dreams of becoming a journalist, using her voice to advocate for others with disabilities.
I want to be a journalist because I've not seen people giving news like me. And for that matter, I would like to use the power of the microphone to advocate for persons living with disabilities.
I want the whole world to know of our friendship, a visually impaired and a person living with a achondroplasia, being besties.
Despite the challenges, Felicity and Esther are determined to succeed in their academic pursuit and hope their friendship will inspire others, as well as highlight the need for better support for students with disabilities. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News.
My God will always lead me
to Pentecost.
Welcome back on the AM show. It's time now for us to get into our big stories. Now, this morning, we're talking about keeping the democratic record of peaceful elections and transitions, the 8th electoral cycle we've had in this Fourth Republic. How do we ensure that this continues in this politically charged atmosphere as we inch ever closer to the December 2024 elections that are turning out to be the most competitive in the history of the country, maybe the Fourth Republic, maybe throughout the history of our country? We're going to have an interaction this morning with Sheikh Ameyal Shaibu on the need to keep the peace of the land intact. Of course, you don't want to miss this conversation. He is a member, of course, of the Peace Council, and he is also spokesperson of the National Chief Imam. Sheikh, good morning.
Good morning.
It's been quite a while since we sat
just
like
to
this.
engage. I mean,
It's been a long time. We go way back. It's really good to have you.
But I've been following you.
Well, good to hear. Let's start from the standpoint of peace, where we find ourselves in Ghana currently. What is your reading of where Ghana is positioned when it comes to peace as of today?
Thank you very much, and good morning for respected viewers this morning. I mean, coming from the angle of the National Peace Council, the previous Global Peace Index indicated that Ghana, we've lost our position on the Global Peace Index, having to be the most peaceful country in the West African sub-region. And also, we lost also position in Africa and the world at large. So, coming from, let me say, I mean, peace activist who also serves on the National Peace Council together with my colleagues, it was a matter of worry for us. And I think that some of the things that really occasioned that has to do, there was some repetitive protests in the country for some time. We know of the Boko, situation. Indeed. We have on our hands, I think more than 200 chieftaincy and community clashes that we are dealing with. And then the polarization of our political environment, all these things, come together to make us suffer a setback in our peace status as viewed from the angle of the Global Peace Index. And to contextualize, why it has become necessary for us, December 2024 elections approaching, and the whole of the media spaces are washed with a call for peace, all over, and expression of trepidation and worry and anxiety is on the ascendancy in the country. And there are reasons for that, and it should help us to be able to assess the reality surrounding us, understanding which helps us to really find a way to say, look, these are things that we must do A, B, C, D to ensure that we'll be able to go through these elections once again to transition politically without getting anybody to die. I mean, you remember we still have on our hands the death of the 8 people, right. I mean, during the Tichiman South. Yeah, which the Ghana police were yet to be informed as to what state or level they have reached in their investigation to report to the world and to Ghana, and to find out who are culpable and to ensure that there is compensation. Of course, I mean, we've heard what the court has said about it, that a certain amount of money has been earmarked and instructing the government to pay certain compensations to those people. But that we were interested also to really get the result of the investigation. So once we have this on our hands, it still remains an issue. Our political environment is very toxic with suspicion. We live in a country where almost every state institution is suspected. The police is not trusted. The judiciary is not trusted. To say here, I mean, even the Peace Council is not trusted. And even though we are doing our work very well, as far as I'm concerned, the security apparatus generally is not trusted. Yeah. I mean, you've heard statements, and I think that is known to everybody, so I don't need to hide it. I mean, we've heard statements, a political party say we will not go to court. So when somebody said, yeah, I will not go to court in a situation of conflict, then what are we talking about? And the latest one, which is for worry to us, is saying that even when we attempt to do this peace pact thing, we are having our difficulties in getting the parties to accept to sign the peace pact. So if you put all these together, and then added to that, this is the first time we're having two Northerners, of course, one Muslim, one Christian, contesting. I mean, as it did in the two major political parties contesting, and also that also adds a certain dimension to the whole situation. And then also we've seen simple limited voter registration, and what outcome we saw. I mean, we saw people come out in violence. Just the recent voter exhibition, we've seen also the suspicion, I mean, the issues that have come up. So all these things have come together, should let us that we are living in a certain reality that makes this year's election an election of a certain unique nature. It has got its nuances, and we need to understand it very well, and they call on all stakeholders to put hands on deck and to ensure that we're able to go through. Let me add quickly, and then we've also heard the rhetorics. The rhetorics. In fact, I want to be bold to say we've transitioned from the old all die to be die to the old that we trace our origin to a revolution. And so when it comes to unleashing violence, I mean, no one matches us. I mean, we can meet them boot for boot. We've transitioned from those old rhetorics, but the new ones have come.
So you're speaking of the intemperate language and
intemperate language. I mean, the sequence. I mean,
from all die be die and subsequent apologies to the former president, John Dramani Mahama. I think we should mention by name if you're.
I mean, yeah. I mean, sometimes we respect them, so we don't want to.
We have a revolutionary. We have revolutionary roots and all of that. To all the other things we've seen, we are not handing over power to currently, like, don't hand over. You have hotels, and if you say things will burn, to all of that. That's what you're.
And we will protect our votes to the perils of our lives. We will not hand over. I mean, we will use every means to win this election.
We'll not sacrifice. Winning the elections on the altar of
peace. I mean, so when you hear, when you hear these things, and you see, they are not out of context, and they are not. They are not. They don't have. We can't say they don't have any implications, because these are statements. They are psychological implications that they prepare the minds of grassroots supporters for violence.
Right.
It creates a mindset.
Right.
Yeah. And like somebody said, I think that there can never be a good war and there can never be a bad peace.
Right. You made mention of, and it's interesting you make that point. I'll go back to something from Baruch Spinoza from his 1670 treatise, and maybe we'll reflect on that. But I just wanted to add this. When you spoke about the Tichiman situation and the people who died, we cannot compensate for a life.
That is it.
Yes, we can talk about compensations, but it's like in Kumasi, if you recall, those young people who were killed some time back, and then, we've interdicted, and it led to nothing.
The Zongo 7,
Exactly.
Yeah.
After a year or two, we have compensated. You can't compensate that woman, that man, for their child that they lost.
Yeah, true.
You can't.
Yeah.
So let's start from there. We can't afford to lose lives. But before we proceed, I'm going to ask you a question laden with other things. What do you think the legacy of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and this MPP administration will be when it comes to peace, maintaining, sustaining it, especially as we enter an electoral cycle?
Well, peace is an all-time need. So we don't have a peace that has a political color. The need for peace during the past administration is as important as the need for peace in this time. So I think that we should rather focus on what, over the period we have been doing, to ensure that are there things that are not in the best of shape to assist us firm out the peace. Because still Ghana is still being touted as a peace haven. At least our relative peace is such that it has become the place where people can run to, even though those of us in it, we have our concerns and anxieties, but still Ghana still remains the peace haven within the sub-region that almost every place where there is trouble, it is here that Ghana runs. And I think that we should say that something has been done. It is not perfect. That's why we find ourselves, and all stakeholders need to come on deck. And then let's see what we can do to ensure that we maintain the peace of our country.
But have the standards fallen? You started
like
talking
I
about
said,
the peace index, among others.
Yeah.
Have the standards fallen? Could we have done better?
Yes, we could have done better. We could have done better. For example, we still are contending. We have managed to contain the Boko situation, that it has not spilled down to the southern part of our country, but it's still ongoing. We still have a number of community and chieftaincy clashes that are there. It's still an issue on our hands. Our country, to be very honest, is not cohesive because it is politically polarized. Yeah. There is no single subject matter of national interest that you want to discuss dispassionately without the politics, that you can achieve that without having the political angles being drawn into it. You can imagine, even when we discuss the matter of corruption, the two major parties, for example, want to blame each other. And for example, they are not talking about that, the ills of corruption, like even the current Galamsey. They are not talking about the ills of the issue, but they are saying that, okay, you are more guilty.
I think it's Anodompre. When I heard that, I just thought, okay, this is the height of sinking into the gutter.
That is it.
Because in any case, you let go of one option because we feel this option is more viable.
Yes.
If the president of the land, your party's leader, puts his presidency on the line.
Yeah.
And I've heard now Mr. Whittle, the Shroud boss, also weighed into it in that recent interaction with the BBC. And someone like Anodompre, with his position in Parliament, comes to say this, but they did worse than we did. Then you ask yourself, because it all boils down to peace.
The peace.
If there's no peace as far as our environment is concerned, and the Ghana Water Company Limited keeps sending us warnings that, look, now what we should have been getting maybe 80-90% off, we are getting 50% off.
Yeah.
I've had water situations where I live for months now. The problem is gradually creeping in, and no one is talking about it because somehow that is not related to peace. But we are sitting on a table.
It's related. Look, environmental...
No, I'm saying that people think it is not, but it is.
I mean, availability of resources that makes people live a comfortable life is part of the peace process. So if you keep people devoid of essential needs, existential needs that they need to be able to survive, I mean, and that's why I said that, I mean, peace is an all-time need, and it relates to some other things that facilitate that we experience the peace. So if our water resource, our water source is being polluted to the point that there will come a time when we have to import water, think about the very poor, the poor of the poor, which form the majority or the largest strata. You know, if you draw the triangle, those who are found at the base, who form the majority, are the poor of the poor. How many of them will be able to import water? I'm a Muslim. I use water a lot for my prayer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if it comes that because of the situation, I will not have the peace of mind. So peace is total. And I think that we need to understand the broad context and be able to work to achieve it together. I mean, all of us, I don't think as a nation we have really understood all the dimensions of peace. That's why we are handling it the way we are handling it.
Speaking of all the dimensions of peace, right? I want us to go back. This morning, while I was reflecting on this conversation, I went back to this quote of Baruch Spinoza's. He puts this in his theological political treatise, all the way from 1670. That's the 17th century. He says, peace is not an absence of war.
Yeah.
It is a virtue, a state of mind, a disposition for benevolence, confidence, justice. That's what he says.
Yeah.
I repeat, peace is not an absence of war. It is a virtue, a state of mind, a disposition for benevolence, confidence, justice. I look at the young people leaving in droves. I was shocked. I keep saying this.
Yeah.
Months back, I went to see someone at the airport. I was shocked. And people were telling me that's a daily affair. Of course, not everybody leaving is going to seek greener pastures. Others are going on business. But you can tell when you look around that, no, the situation is not right. You know, it's interesting. Just a few days ago, a colleague of mine here, I used to work with him. He calls me, and guess what? He's in Ohio, in the United States. And you know what the conversation will be like. How does the peace we enjoy now fit into this? Are we actually living this out?
No, if we are living this, I don't think even the conversation will come up. I don't think that, like, around this election, we are all in a state of anxiety. Fear situation is heightening up. The closer we get to the election, the higher or the greater our anxiety and fears. If all these attributes of peace, or the dimensions as indicated in the philosopher's definition, I don't think that we'll be talking about peace. So we have a certain situation where relatively we are all in a certain state of stability. But like somebody said, it's like the peace of the cemetery. I mean, it's because the people there are dead. That's why when you go there. But assuming they have the chance to come out and speak, all of them will tell you the situation in which they find themselves in the grave. Yeah. And so I think that we are not in a state of perfect peace. And we must really identify those areas of our challenges that undermine the peace that we hope and we expect that we want to enjoy, particularly as the elections, because, I mean, peace is not just the absence of war or the absence of violence. It also relates to certain attitudes, system of governance. It also relates to prevailing security. It relates to respect for human rights, and so on and so forth. So when people are in a state where they enjoy all these, equality and non-discrimination based on religion, based on gender or social status and all those, when people live in a situation like this and they feel comfortable, resources are available, effort is being made to distribute national resources with equity and equality, and everybody feels we are all part of it, there's inclusivity and so on and so forth. When you have all these, then you can say that we are making progress in the peace. But where there are indications that we are not getting all these, then you must expect that people will still raise concerns about the peace.
We'll get to those concerns, but let me ask you, what is the significance of a peace pact or signing a document saying we will abide by the decision and try to ensure that there is peace? What is the significance? And I ask that from the standpoint that I see, even, let's stick to Africa, many other African countries, I don't see this peace pact thing going on. Right. They are not signing peace pacts, but they are having peaceful elections. So some would say, why are we tying this albatross round our necks? Why do we need a peace pact in the first place?
I think that it's a matter of choice, and in Ghana, probably is the price that we put on our peace, the priority we give to it. That's why when election is approaching, and we can see, like currently, we can see what is happening. We draw the attention of those who are the contending parties, that you cannot toil with our peace. The peace that we are talking about is not the peace, there's no difference in the peace that we need for political parties and the peace of citizenry. Those who are going into election, put them all together. The two major contenders. Then add the 275 or 776 parliamentarians who are going to be voted for. Then add the independent candidates and the other parties. They come to just about 300. About 300 people. That about 32 million people are going to vote for. Okay, let's say, I mean, the voting section, I can't tell the percentage of the qualified voters. These are the people, but whatever happens, these are less than 300 people who are holding this country and creating fears in our country. So therefore, 32 million people must hold them responsible. Because Ghana is not for them alone. And when they come into power, they need us. They need the people to be able to rule. But if in the way they are doing it, is going to plunge us in this country, then we must call them and commit them to peace. And so it is the price and the value that we place on peace. That's why we call them to come. And I say, great respect for all the political leaders, great respect for them. But sometimes I say, look, it's embarrassing. For me, it's embarrassing that you want to become our president. You want to become our president. And from your actions, we get afraid. So we call you to come and sit down, and we'll commit you. Tell us that when you come, you are coming, but you will maintain the peace. I think it's
and you're speaking to all the political
I'm speaking to all of them.
But the point you make is exactly what I was referencing. That the mere fact that we have to get to the point where we are calling you like school children. Come.
Look,
don't fight. Let's have peace. In itself shows a lack of maturity in our political system.
See, that's
for all these political parties.
Yeah, I said, look, great respect for them, because when you are on air, I mean, you need to, and from where I'm coming from, the chief imams, from the National Peace Council angle, we want to speak to everybody with respect. But from how I feel inside me, I think it's degrading to the political leaders that they themselves will not take the initiative and commit to peace from how they speak and how they raise their concerns and how they insist that probably established institutions must work, but that they speak in a certain tone that suggests that if things don't go this direction or that direction, hell will break loose and the country will be plunged into violence. And so we have to call them like children to come and do that. I think it's not for their dignity. It's not the best. I would have wished that on their own, and from the way they carry themselves, from the way they engage in the public discourse, even within the campaigns, they will give it the satisfaction that these are people who are not looking for peace for themselves, or they don't think of peace differently from all the citizens of the country, but it's all collective peace that we are. But unfortunately, that's where we find ourselves. But still, it is a good thing to do. It's still a good, somebody will tell you, well, we have signed it, we have not seen, yeah. But it has always been a basis actually for us to be able to talk. So for example, we want to say that, look, posterity is watching you. Posterity is watching you. you signed for peace, but then you did something differently. We may not be able to arrest you. We may not be able to do that. But that life has not come to a standstill yet. We are still in history in the making. Ghana is still there. You come to power. You will not remain in power forever. So the legacy that you leave, if you do things that plunges, because in violence, there is a speedy destruction of accomplishments of yesteryears. It is much, much easier to destroy during violence. And returning violence for violence only multiplies violence. It doesn't give us, that's why I will say that there can never be a good war and there can never be a bad peace. In other words, the choice always should be in the direction of peace. We may not get it as perfect as we want, but it must be our preference.
I mean, here on earth, we will not have perfect peace anywhere, but can we do better? And I know that some of these leaders of political parties are engaging in saber rattling, open saber rattling, especially both the MPP and the NDC. But this mistrust that you speak of could quickly degenerate. I always say that we can look at Kenya and what has happened there, not even the recent ones. I'm talking about the initial incidents. You can look at Liberia, and for those of us who have lived there, Chief Sergeant or Master Sergeant Doe and some of his comments and what they degenerated into. And then you can look at his own end, how he was killed, unfortunately. But sometimes you need to let people realize these things so that they see that, look, some of what you are doing now, they say when you dig a pit, you fall in it yourself. You could end up being the ultimate, beneficiary or loser in the end. So you see, the mistrust you speak of, it could degenerate into
terrible violence.
How then do we turn the tide of that? Look at the EC. Huge mistrust on the standpoint of the EC. You look at the other factors. For example, recently when Johnson Esiedun Ketia spoke, and it's been months now, about not signing this peace pact. He referenced Ayawaso West Wuogon, for example, and some of their requirements that individuals alleged to have illegally printed approximately 1 million extra ballot papers during the 2020 elections should be prosecuted. What has happened on that front? A public declaration by President Akufo-Addo that he will respect the outcome of the 2024 elections. We've heard him say, and I will be handing over to someone from my party. And I also heard, you see, it triggers because then the former president also said, you will not determine that. The people will determine that. Then, full disclosure from the EC on the disappearance of some electoral equipment from its office. Till today, we still don't have closure on that matter. Another one, just so I conclude. Akufo-Addo, the Inspector General of Police, the Chief Justice, the National Security Coordinator, the Attorney General signing the peace pact themselves. And you know why these have come to play. When you look at this, is this unreasonable? Tell me.
Let me comment from the first part of the presentation you made, and I think it's like there's certain telepathic agreement in this moment. I have said somewhere and cautioned the political actors to be cautious not to be talking like warlords. And I have made reference to what this man in Sierra Leone who cut the children's hands.
I
don't know why the name has...
The name will come to us. Don't worry, the name will come to us.
For the Sanko.
Sanko, indeed.
For the Sanko.
I think under his time, they were doing the long sleeve
short sleeve. I have cautioned political actors who are so vituperative and vitriolic in the language that they use, preparing the minds. And I always saying that when both of them, when they speak, it's like they are speaking to their supporters and to prepare their minds. So they should be cautious not to be talking like warlords. So Fode Sanko is one. Jonas Savimbi, we know how he ended. Sergeant Doe, we know currently the state of Charles Taylor.
I was just about to mention his name as well.
Charles Taylor. So, and it goes with the Akan expression that Uobema Dudua, Yakunjao. So this is to throw the caution that when they speak the way they do, they must remember that it didn't begin with them alone, but others have done so, and we've seen how they ended. And I don't think that they also want to fall into some of those things. So, and then the issue of I must say it as a person, because of the way we do our work as Peace Council, we are cautious not to be blaming people in public. We like to go behind the scenes and see correct things. And so those are matters that we have engaged with the Electoral Commission, and we have had some engagements where we have given some advice that whatever actions they have taken regarding issues of suspicion, they must make those ones public. I think the EC chair was invited to the parliament once to come and explain the circumstances behind the loss of certain gadgets. I don't know whether the parliament was satisfied with the explanations she gave, but at least we know that she came out to give some explanation.
The EC has said, for example, that yes, some of these people have been invited. Why can't we know who have been invited?
Yes.
What they had in their possession, what has been retrieved, and if not, what the implications could be on the election? Why can't we know?
Yeah, I think that should be the step to be taken by the EC. We leave that one to the EC. If they have given the assurance that, look, we've put in place all our arrangements and we want to guarantee you that these elections will be transparent, will be peaceful, will be fair, and so on and so forth. Recently, we heard that somebody has been arrested with a certain gadget. I don't know how far that investigation has gone. But all this, in fact, we must all agree that when it comes to election year like this, the whole destiny of the nation lies on the lap of the EC. So whatever need to be done to give assurance to the electorate, all of us, that the system is going to be as transparent as possible, is going to be as fair as possible, to offer information that the people need to be able to feel comfortable. That lies within the power of the EC, and I want to encourage them. We want to encourage the EC that EC must take all steps to ensure that whatever is of concern that has been raised, that they are able to address them. Some of them is a matter of using the IPAC to be able to address them once there is some understanding among the parties. And the
NDC is now back on IPAC, so
we tried,
better.
Working together with them. With the at least my good friend Esodun Ketia, for example. We have to be talking with the Peace Council, and we must commend him. We really have to engage. To a point that finally he accepted to come back to IPAC. And I think that the concept of the IPAC needs to be deepened and accepted that this is a place where if there's an issue, we all. You see, it should not be the issue for only one party. Then when it comes like that, then it's like, this party is doing it, that. But let's create a platform where what is of concern to NDC, for example, will be of concern to PNC, APC.
But is that not precisely the problem? Because do you know something I've realized?
Yes.
And I've even spoken to diplomats.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention which foreign mission, so it doesn't appear.
Yes.
And they'll tell you, sometimes some of them attend IPAC meetings.
Yes.
Some of them are invited periodically.
As observers.
Exactly. And you can tell that discussions have been had, and it appears what the Electoral Commission decided is supported by the party and government, but everyone else thinks something else was deliberated upon.
Yeah.
And I've had it here. You would have Remy Edmondson come and say, no, from where we sit as a political party, this was not what we agreed on.
Yeah.
You would have other party people also come here and say, this was not it. Why do we have this problem where the party in power is always supportive of the EC? What is in there? What is behind
it? It has become a cycle. And I think that we all know it here. We should not hide it. The fact that the incumbent has the power to appoint the EC chair has always been a problem. Charlotte Osai, during Charlotte Osai's time, at the time, anything that comes up that was raised by the opposition then the government or the party in power had to rush to her defense. In fact, it became like almost the spokesperson. Yeah. And this is exactly what is playing out. That is why I think we lost a great opportunity, this country. I must give great credit to former President, His Excellency Atta Mills. I must give him great credit. Atta Mills was not a politician of a political party. Yes, it is a vehicle that put him there, but in his mind and his way of doing things, he is not a partisan. He was not a partisan president.
He was not your typical politician.
That is what I want to say. A president who knows that it's enjoyable to have this unwielding power. And yet he comes and he commissions a commission to embark upon a constitutional reform and come with recommendations in which we spend colossal, I can't remember the amount, runs into, is it thousands of dollars?
You mean the Constitutional Review Commission?
2010. Yeah, 2010.
It was quite a bit. I don't remember exactly how much.
Durable American dollars that we spent on that. And we lost upon an opportunity. In his departure, we could not take advantage to work on this, to reduce the appointing power of the president. We lost opportunity. And I think that if his spirit is listening to me, he must be worried. He must be worried.
Do you know what I find interesting? Our politicians usually, and we're going to fast track this because they say one thing when they are not in power, and when they are in power, it is totally, apart from maybe the example of Atta Mills that you mentioned, and some would even lampoon him that he was weak. But you see, sometimes being pacific is mistaken as being weak, being too pliable. Because Dr. Arthur Kennedy, Commander Arthur Kennedy, sat here and told me that he had had interactions with our current president in the past. And he had said things like, oh, our presidency is too powerful. And if I ever become, look at us today.
Yeah.
How can one person be appointing IGP, heads of all these state institutions, ministers, and all? It's like Lord Acton's aphorism, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts.
And because he has the power to do
give the person enough power, and if you don't have an Atta Mills there, you will see some of what we are seeing.
If he decides to do, because it's been given, and all of them do it, even with the period within which they make the appointments. I mean, for example, you find that close to transition, I mean, because you have the power.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can challenge you to that. So you go ahead and do it, and then you leave it and go away. And I think that we lost a great opportunity to be able to have really solved a long-standing, long-term problem that would have even helped us in the current situation that we find ourselves.
And you're right.
But this point that the request that if we have to sign the Peace Pact, certain state institutions must sign. Look, the Peace Pact is our own making. We are deciding it. It's not from heaven.
Right.
We are deciding it. So if we decide to change the terms of the sign of the pact, and we find it necessary that all these institutions, I will not have a problem.
But you do realize that they are communicating something. When they say the IGP should sign it. We know the role the police plays in our elections. And sometimes how perceivedly, purportedly, and I'm putting these in quotation marks, they appear to be biased, right? The Attorney General and his posturing, whichever way anybody wants to look at it. The judicial system. You can understand why they are,
that's why
positioning in this, and that is why, if I may add, you look at Most Reverend Matthew Kwesi Jemfi, I'm talking about the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference and others. He says, for there to be peace, there should always be justice. Some of the issues that the NDC are raising should be addressed. For example, in the Ayawaso incident, how were the findings implemented if there were findings? The short commission, you remember? What are the investigations so far into the murders, and where have we reached? When these things are addressed, the NDC will have no basis not to sign the peace agreement.
And that's why I didn't, even from the beginning, it was only later that I read and I thought that, and it's now been made like affirmative that we will not sign. But it was like, we are not saying we are not committed to it. And I think we must give them that credit. They are not saying we will not sign or we don't appreciate peace. But like, is it Toby Afede who said, I mean, when we talk about peace, we should not be only talking about the peace, but that the justice that underpin the peace must also be spoken about. So they are saying that while certain things are there which remain unresolved, or antecedents, or previous incidents, and the way they've been handled, do not give us the hope that even when we sign, it's going to lead us to something. I think we should not rubbish everything. Some we can say are not realistic, we will not be able to achieve them, but some we can talk about them. I think we're all not happy. I mean, this is my personal view. When a whole government put in place a commission to investigate and comes out with recommendations, the short commission, and then the white paper seem to have rejected almost everything.
Exactly.
For me, I mean, it's one of the downsides, and so now it becomes a basis. Now for a political party to say, look, because of what has happened, we don't think that, look, this thing is making any meaning to us. I think that we should have really acted, at least going to a certain percentage of those recommendations, and also
some of the people who are affected. I think one of them has died.
Yes.
The one whose foot or whose leg was shot. People's lives ruined. You can even set the political parties aside, MPP and NDC. These innocent people, who suffered these things, whose lives were truncated in a way. What have we done for them? Have they got justice?
I mean, so
you remember what I said from Spinoza? He ends with justice.
Justice. I mean, the justice is an essential part of every peace that we are. Once the person feels unfairly treated or treated with injustice, the pain of dissatisfaction is what leads him to act in a certain way.
Okay.
And as he continues to stay in that dissatisfaction, he looks for a way for a redress all the time. And
so you're still working to get the NDC back to sign the Peace Pact.
Oh yes. I mean, my chairman and through other means, and that's why when. Look, I mean, the way that we do our work, like the Peace Council will not enter into a public banter with any institution, because once you do so, you lose your space, your moral space, to be able to do so. So the best thing is that, look, you've raised an issue. We think they are worth looking into. But we can negotiate. In every peace, there must be negotiation. There must be compromises. So we say, look, number one, I mean, it's not very realistic that we can work on them, but can we agree that, okay, this one is workable, this is not workable, and together with you we can agree. And that is how we really work on peace. When dialogue comes and we negotiate, and there's certainly a bit of satisfaction and a shifting of positions. And because you do so in its dialogue, that's why you should not disrespect the person. That's why when any political party or somebody speaks in public, we don't come out and reply or reprimand or pass a judgment. And that's why the public sometimes, they misconstrue, misunderstand. I want to say strongly, the work of the National Peace Council. The Peace Council does not have the power to subpoena, so we are not a court. We don't have the power of adjudication. We don't sanction, so we don't have the power to enforce. And that's why our work is more persuasive, facilitation, coordination, calling on people. Sometimes when we have listened to you, the way you spoke, we rush to you behind the scenes and say, my brother, this thing, so that anytime we invite you for us to sit down, you look at us with respect and see that we are genuine in the way that we are pursuing it. But assuming we come, I mean, the chairman of NDC speaks, and then my chairman of the Peace Council also now rebut in a very fierce manner. You've broken that trust and respectability. So next time you call him, he tells you, Chairman, I mean, from the way you spoke, I don't think that I can sit down with you.
Now, of course, that means you expect them to make a number of concessions.
Oh, yes.
I just want to find out. So that means you think it's unfair when people say things like the Peace Council is a useful entity in resolving this situation, but they haven't been proactive.
Look, it gives me...
But they haven't been proactive.
Yeah, it gives me a bit of pain, but not anger.
Okay.
But look, I am happy I'm in the...
Because it appears everything, you are doing it backdoor, behind the scenes. And people will be asking, so... if you don't say it openly, how will we know that you are doing anything? And if you say, oh, we did it behind the scenes, how do we know whether you are actually doing anything?
That's why the accounts have said opinion de mantimante. And if the work you do in a conflict situation is largely mediative,
right?
You don't talk too much. You don't talk in public. And even for those of us who say the Peace Council is, I mean, I have heard very, very respectable people, and it was most unfortunate that they spoke the way they did. We can say so. The fact that there's shortcomings in our parliament, we will not write the parliament out completely. I think it's fallacious to think that because we have had this hung parliament and things are not the best, and we have parliamentarians 276 or 75. Why are we where we are? So should we write out completely? Our parliament is useless. We have an NMC, the National Media Commission, with all the mandate that they have been given. It is not a perfect. I mean, NMC can be taken to court. And I mean, we know how the Giba took NMC to court.
Right.
And all those things, the charge is there. These are things, institutions that they are doing their work, but because they have not been able to achieve to our expectations, we don't write them. And I've not heard anybody saying that we should write up this completely. It's a useless body. The Peace Council remains a very useful thing in the history. For once in our history, we thought that there was the need for an institution that will facilitate and draw all the tools of mediation to be able to keep and sustain the peace in our country. It may not be in my time. Yes, that's why we have a tenure, a 4-year, tenure, either for you to be reappointed. And people also think that look, it will shock you. We went somewhere, one of the media houses, and for them, their whole serious thing about the Peace Council was based on prejudice. And they thought that Reverend Professor Marty is a member of the Peace Council.
Oh, you mean...
Professor Marty?
Nyansafo Muahi.
Nyansafo Muahi.
Okay.
And then I know from my little knowledge of psychology, I said, so this is what prejudice can do. This is how prejudice can color perception.
Okay.
Anyone who is prejudiced against you, your perception, how he sees you, will be colored by his existing prejudgment in his mind.
No matter what you do, it's like they say,
so you can imagine existing prejudice that now makes somebody to pass a certain judgment on the value of National Peace Council. And I think that we must look for opportunity to really educate the public. We have done so. My chairman has done so. Look, we have had meetings with the media, reporters, we have had editors. We have had meetings with the Council of Elders of all the political parties. In fact, from 2020 ADA meeting, post-election evaluation meeting, conference that we had, in which all the political parties were involved. And from there, the assignments given to us, meeting with the IGP and talking about what happened in Techiman South, meeting with the CJ, the Chief Justice.
So it is clear you've been doing your work.
A lot of work
has been done. You've been doing your work behind the scenes, like you're saying. But in the next few minutes, we have to go. Let me just find out. Why do you need $1 million? Reverend Adujempi has been talking about this bit about $1 million. In fact, quoting him, he says, the council is facing numerous cases that require attention, underscoring the necessity for additional financial support. And he also says that the current workload has stretched your resources thin. That is the Peace Council, hindering your ability to effectively carry out essential functions. And so you need $1 million. Tell us more about that.
I think that he made that comment on the side. It was not the main part of his speech.
We don't mind. Whether it was left, right, center, forward, backward. We want to find out. What do you need $1 million for?
Look.
This is about 16.5 million Ghana cedis.
The first place, my response is that, look, there's no price you can put on peace. When it comes to peace, let this country break. Let this country break into violence like you have experienced in Liberia. I have gone to Liberia to observe elections and the state of devastation. I moved from Monrovia far away to River Seas.
Wow.
That's where I went. Even where to sleep. The state of the road, it was during a rainy season. At one point, we have to get out of our vehicle and wade through, and so on. And so you see the breakdown of peace like in Sierra Leone, breakdown of peace like in Rwanda. Then you will appreciate that $1 million is not even enough for the peace of our country. But I think that some people...
But I just want to understand. I don't think it's anybody saying, you don't merit...
No, there are people who have made comments.
But the question is, what are you hoping to do with...
Yes.
See, we've got to the point where we want to account for every person. What do you mean to do with $1 million?
We have, in all the 16 regions, for example, we have regional peace councils and district peace councils. they need resources to be able to do their work. Sometimes when something happens, we even have to wait for them to inform us before.
Okay.
Motorbikes, even that they need to be able to rush to from like, I mean, complex sites, for example, it's the vehicle that we need. If we have to move from here to Boko, there's an issue. And we have to move from here to Boko, and we need money to pay. And we don't have the resources. Most of our events now are being funded by international donor organizations. So assuming that now all of them are not there, if these donor organizations are not there to support what we do, for example, then you can see the cost that we can put on this array of programs.
So let me put it this way.
Yes.
This year, 2024, for example, ahead of election 2024, how much have you got from donor organizations? And
well,
do you get support from government?
I mean, if I tell you, I mean from the common fund, and as I speak to you, we are even in arrears.
As in you've not been paid?
Yeah, I mean.
By government?
I mean,
What's
yes.
commitments?
Yes. I mean, because we know whether there are some challenges. So when it comes to the financial side,
how long has it been?
For the financial side, usually for us, we don't talk about the financials. It's my executive secretary who, I will leave that one to him. He will be talking about the money and the financial aspect of it. But that the Peace Council is not having adequate resources. After that one, it's a general thing. And look, we have met with people who have become so sorry. Even how much do I take as a certain allowance? I buy my fuel. Yes. Come to our office and see the state of our office. It's not that we are trying to we've been offered the land, to build the Peace House. We have established the National Peace Fund, which we inaugurated at the Kofi Annan Peace Keeping Center. Which, you can find. We have done so. The people are not even making contributions into it. Yeah. Because people, you see, they don't see the value of the peace. That's why when we mention $1 million for working peace in this country, people are raising their eyebrows. I'm saying that let's this country break into violence. And the amount of money we need to rebuild what will be destroyed, the amount of money we'll need to recast and rebuild what will be destroyed, will tell you that even if we talk about $2 million for us to work in the peace of this country, we are not asking for so much.
Let's conclude the conversation on a few points. There's been a lot of use of intemperate or inflammatory language. What would be your caution to the political parties? And then I'll wrap with the Electoral Commission. How do you feel they fared? We've spoken about it briefly. Yeah. But what more would you expect? For example, there have been calls that with the voters register and all that, there should be an external forensic audit, highly transparent, so that we know what is there, what is not there, so that we don't have issues on election day. What are your reactions to these?
No, you see, for some of those things, some of us are cautious because, we don't talk for EC. I'm not the spokesperson for EC.
But you're a citizen, and you engage.
The EC should really come out and let the public know that with these arising anomalies, for example, we know that it's a human institution. It's not a perfect institution. Like we all know, wherever we have worked, there are shortcomings. But what do we want to do to enhance and build more confidence and trust that somebody might not misinterpret sometimes genuine mistake, that it was something deliberate. For me, that's the important thing. That work in such a way that even when you make a mistake, for example, we saw from 2020 the announcement of the results and what happened. Exactly. Raise questions and make it a bit problematic. Now we do limited voter registration, the tabulation, or if you like, the additions. I think that we need to be more meticulous. Given the state of suspicion in which we are, the pressure
so the EC should be more meticulous, but you don't support this idea of an external forensic audit?
No, because they have their own internal. I think that it must be a matter for IPAC together to agree. If you see the voter registration exhibition, what is the essence of it? It is supposed to unearth anomalies, in my view. So at least we have achieved that. When it was exhibited, we have achieved that because we've noticed that people have been transferred without authority to a different place, at another place. How widespread is the problem? We must all agree. And then all the political parties should come and sit down at IPAC. And I think that IPAC must be strengthened.
Okay.
If if we agree within the mandate of the EC also that there is a way by which we can really address this to your satisfaction. We can address this. We give you the assurance that we can address this to your satisfaction without the alternative that you are giving. Then we all agree.
But so far, if you had to score the EC on a scale of 1 to 10 for their performance, how would you score them?
Well, do you mean in terms of previous elections that they have organized, or maybe between now and...
ahead of the 2020. So let's start from election 2020 to now. How do you...
Yeah, well, I think I will avoid, rating the EC, because it's not in my power to pass judgment on them. Mine is to cooperate with them, and also maybe, as we can from the Peace Council angle, maybe engage with them when anybody has raised an issue, say, look, this thing has come to out. For example, like this anomalies, for example, it was a matter of concern for us. And we began some engagement, and then at the time, I think we were told that the EC was coming out to also address the issue in public. But we'll continue with our engagements with the EC.
Sure.
With any complaint that come up, we discuss it and we see how the merits of it. We'll just say, look, the EC, can you do something better to really satisfy the people in public, apart from even the NDC or the other parties. No, the whole country need a certain basis to be confident that the EC will organize a credible election. In fact, to be credible also requires public trust. To say there's a public credibility of the elections depends on public trust. So I think the EC must also do its work very well to engender more of the public trust and confidence that whenever things happen, people might not put some interpretations on it. But once we don't see that happen and repeated anomalies coming up, in fact, it worsens the depth of the suspicion.
I want you to do me a favor in some 30 seconds, and that will be the final word I'll take. Peace, yes, but from the standpoint of Galamsey and everything it is doing to us. You spoke about it earlier. Don't tell me. I hear the president and those at the Jubilee House watch this show a lot. I'd like you to address Mr. President on the state of Galamsey, what you see and what you expect of him. Those will be your final words.
My final words, great respect, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, Adanko Akufo-Addo. I got excited, really, when you said to the whole nation that if it comes putting your presidency on the line to fight Galamsey, you will do it. What it meant was that you were prepared even to get out of power if you fail in doing this. You still have some time to be able to do this. 3 months is still a time to take an action. The Galamsey is becoming worse. The devastation is widening in scope. The threat to our very survival, because we might not get a source of water, is on the increase. It is threatening the very broad base of our peace. You've been given the mandate. You are the president. You are the first gentleman of the country. We want you to leave a legacy. Let us remember you for the best of things. So if your action against Galamsey is the only thing that you can do, that posterity will remember you and say, yes, we had a president who saw that our country was being devastated by Galamsey, and he took action and stopped it. Not the president alone. All who have some authority related to this Galamsey, I'm talking about traditional authority. And I have said somewhere in Fanti or in Chi that, no, the excavators, they don't have wings. Wenyantaban, they don't have wings. So they drive on your roads.
Don't you see them?
Don't you see them? No. Still, I don't want to denigrate the Fulani issue. When the Fulani issue came, in some places, Nananum and the youth of those areas rose because they thought the Fulani was devastating their farming lands. How different is this Galamsey? Cocoa farms are being destroyed. How different is this?
Why are they not rising?
Why are they not rising? Including the youth. Including the youth. You see, the security. Let us not put aside, let's all, put aside this kind of pecuniary, interest in wherever we have sent for national duty, that we easily get compromised.
Right.
I mean, you send a military man, you send a police, he goes there. Now we are told the MCEs, in fact, names of certain MPs. And I would advise the young people strongly that if you have an MP who has a hand in the Galamsey that is destroying our water sources and our farmlands, he doesn't deserve to be voted for.
I think we'll cap it off there. In recent times, the Fourth Estate came out with another, piece with some core members of this administration supposedly mired in Galamsey. Maybe that is why some people are saying they did worse than we did. So maybe we too, we can do it. But Sheikh, thank you so much for joining us this morning. In fact, we're going to segue from here. The scenes you are seeing on your screen, that is the Electoral Commission as the filing of nominations actually takes place shortly. The EC is going to engage the media ahead of the arrival of the filing of the presidential candidates. We'll be crossing over there shortly. But Sheikh Amiyao Shaibu is a member of the Peace Council, and he's a spokesperson of the National Chief Imam. Shortly, we'll be joined by James Aveji, who is at the Electoral Commission. He will be giving us the scoop on what exactly is happening. We hear today John Dramani Mahama, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kofi Akpaloo, and others will be filing their nominations. James, what can you tell us about what exactly is happening right now at the EC?
Well, Ben, we are set to go now. The Vice President, the presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as well as his running mate, Dr. Masio Poku Prempeh, are all in here at the EC's conference room, ready to file their nomination. Earlier on at about 8:30, the EC chair, Jill Mensah, arrived at the office, and his deputies are all ready. Let me know that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his running mates have arrived with all the people that matters to the party. I'm talking about the party chairman, the general secretary, the former party chairman, Mr. Freddie Blay, is also here to give his solidarity to the team. The majority leader, Alexander Martin, is also here, as well as the director of legal affairs for the NPP, and all the bigwigs that matter to the party. They are all here to file that nomination. We know that as far as the rules of the EC is concerned, they are expected to, any political party or candidate who wants to file nomination, the presidential candidate would have outdoors their running mate already, and those forms should have been signed by at least 2 persons from every single district across the country. And so it is our belief that all of those have already been met. If you see yourself there, the Interior Minister is also there, Henry Quartey, seated there together with every other single party, a former aspirant, a president for the party, Communal Japan, is also there. The agreements are to work the filing of the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The male candidates of the parties are expected to pay at least some 100,000 Ghana cedis as filing fees to the Electoral Commission. We know that at least 4 of the political totaling, some 34 candidates will be filed later in the afternoon at 2 p.m. John Dramani Mahama is expected to be here to also file his nomination. And so for now, it is set for the NPP, waiting for the EC chair, Madam Jill Mensah, to walk in and receive the filing of the presidential candidate for the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as well as his running mate all here to do that. And so that's how the conference room of APC looks like as we prepare for a long day. We know that after the filing, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would be making his way from here to the NPP party headquarters, where he will be, taking through the party's own preparation as the next chapter for the party's concern after filing of the numbers and the figures who start which position would who be taken on the ballot paper and what that will mean for the party. The NPP is looking forward to break the 8. Question is, are they looking forward to the 8th position on the ballot paper, or they'll be looking beyond that? We know that their candidates, the current president in the last election picked the first position on the ballot paper, and that they are looking for it. So all of those number plays will start from this morning when the candidates file their nominations. Benjamin.
You're still watching the AM show, and just before we went on that break, we were giving you some updates on what's happening at the Electoral Commission headquarters, where some flag bearer hopefuls are set to file their nominations. Let's go there live and follow through with the processes.
That we are supposed to pay as a order to file. So we have the package last year. And also a letter signed by myself introducing our flag bearer and also support to our flag bearer. Also attached to the document that's I'm going to present to you. Then 8 voters read ID card. Indeed, he's a registered voter and have a copy of his voter's ID card. Then, your requirement also, you should have tax clearance certificate. So the tax clearance certificate is also attached to the document that I'm presenting to you. Then 4 passport pictures, passport size, with a red background. Then, the requirement also, you should also have its asset declaration certificate from the audit service of Ghana, which is also attached to the document I'm presenting to you. We also have clearance from the criminal investigation department. His record is clean and intact. Then also we have the voter's ID card of his running mate, Dr. Michael Pepe. Attached is also the tax clearance certificate of Dr. Michael Pepe. Then audit service under declaration of assets and liability under Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution is also cleared by the audit service. Then finally, we also have his background check by the criminal investigation department. This as it was is also clean. So, Madam Chair, without wasting my time, I want to officially present this documentation to you for your acceptance.
We will come to that. We will come to that.
I would like to seek the mic to Chair to say some few words.
Good morning, His Excellency, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana and presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. Good morning to the Second Lady, Hajia Samira Bawumia. Good morning, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh and Mrs. Opoku Prempeh. Good morning to our Chief of Staff, the Honorable Fremo Opari, the Chairman of the New Patriotic Party and General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, the Campaign Manager, the Majority Leader, Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers of State. I welcome all of you to the Electoral Commission this morning. Indeed, this is the first time a sitting Vice President has personally presented his nomination forms to the Electoral Commission. It is therefore an honor to receive you this morning. Indeed, this is the day our Father God has made, and we rejoice and we are glad in it. We thank the Almighty for making it possible for us to gather here this morning. This morning, we are here to kickstart one of the most important processes in the lead up to the 2024 general elections. Indeed, without this process, the Commission cannot run the election. And here I'm referring to the filing of nominations by presidential candidates who are seeking to contest the 2024 presidential election. Regulation 7 of CI 127 enjoins a presidential candidate to complete and sign 4 copies of the nomination forms. Additionally, the forms are to be signed by no less than 2 persons who are registered voters in the area of authority of each district assembly. By law, the presidential candidate is also required to designate a person to serve as his or her vice presidential candidate. Further, the presidential candidate is required to deliver the forms to the Commission on the date prescribed by the Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of the Commission's efforts to ensure a transparent, credible, and accountable process, the Commission has developed a detailed checklist that embodies the criteria to be satisfied by presidential candidates as prescribed by law. The checklist will guide the scoring and awarding of marks by teams established by the Commission to scrutinize and review each nomination form submitted. As in 2020, the Commission has established 2 teams which have been tasked to review all forms submitted. The technical team has been tasked to review forms to ensure that the presidential candidates meet the qualifications as set out by law, namely that the candidate is at least 40 years of age, that he or she has satisfied all tax obligations, and that he or she has nominated a vice presidential candidate, among others. The second team, namely the IT team, has been charged with the responsibility of scrutinizing the voter ID cards of presidential candidates and their supporters, so as to verify whether the candidates and their supporters are indeed registered voters. Both teams have been provided adequate training and have been oriented to carry out their functions as prescribed by law. The guiding principle for both teams is clear. They are to operate within the confines of the law. They are not to exercise discretion in the matter. Above all, they have been tasked to be fair and yet firm in executing their duties. We have no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that the process will be transparent, fair, and peaceful. Additionally, we are confident that the 5-day period provided for the filing process, as opposed to the 2-day process prior to 2020, will allow enough time for presidential candidates to correct errors identified in their forms. We are confident that this will eliminate the tensions and rancor that characterized the filing process prior to the 2020 election. Once again, I warmly welcome all of you to the Electoral Commission this morning, and thank you, Mr. Vice President, for coming in person to submit your nomination forms. As the returning officer for the 2024 general election, I will now receive your forms. Your forms will be subjected to vetting and scrutiny by our teams. I assure you that our teams will go to work immediately on your forms and will contact you within the shortest possible time to inform you of the decision arrived at. Thank you very much. May the good Lord bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. I'll now proceed to receive the forms.
The other one. Now we invite the presidential aspirant to say a few words.
Thank you very much. I think the operation is at its feet. Madam Chairperson, Deputy Chairperson, Commissioners, and senior staff of the Electoral Commission. My team here, supported by my wife, Samira, and my running mate and his spouse, chairman of the party, chief of staff, my manager and the leader of parliament, of course, our very able general secretary. I want to thank all of you for this morning. As has been said, all this, I believe, is in God's plans. Nothing really happens just by chance. I believe in life, the things that we do are ordered by God Almighty. And so I want to thank God Almighty for this morning, for the opportunity. And for me, it is personally a very historic opportunity to submit these forms for the first time as a presidential candidate. I want to pray and ask that we all pray for God's blessings for our dear country, Ghana, because we are embarked on this process, which is an election, and these are part of the processes towards the December 7th election. And we need God to continue to bless our country. What we are trying to do is to help uplift our country. We don't want to tear down our country. And so it's very important that our country is uplifted after the election. And in this context, I believe that our prayers and our behaviors as we go through and our conduct will be very, very important to ensure that this process is very peaceful at the end of the day. I believe also that we should pray for the Electoral Commission. They do a very, very difficult job, probably the most difficult job, because whenever you go into an election, you're either going to win or lose, and usually the EC is the scapegoat for people who may not have won. So we want to pray that the good Lord strengthens them, gives them the wisdom. Pray for the chairperson, the deputies, and the staff all the way through, the returning officers, presiding officers, all the staff who engage in this very difficult task. I believe the EC will live up to the task. historically, I think Ghana is in a very enviable position as far as the conduct of elections are concerned. And I believe that Madam Chair and your team will live up to it. But let's pray and continue to pray for God's blessings for the EC. I also pray for God's blessings for the new patriotic party, myself and my team, so that we will emerge victorious in this election. And then at the end of the day, we inherit a country which is peaceful, and that this process reinforces the democratic traditions of Ghana. We are a very proud democracy, and we need to reinforce it and continue to improve on it. And I want to thank you, Madam Chairperson, and your team for the kind and warm reception, and we look forward to hearing back from you. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Received by chairman or chairperson at this time. Accepted. Timing.
What's the time?
9:39.
How do you write
2 o'clock to 9:39 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't put AM.
It's 2 o'clock is there. So right 9:39.
This one is at EC office.
Received by the chairman at and accepted by him at. Maybe you can do 9:40. No. We should put 9:40 here. Received
And accepted by
because we go through.
Yes.
So now we just maintain this time and leave that time. The moment everything is okay, then but now
here.
we will sign.
What about here? You leave all of this.
Yes. Happy for now, symbolically. Then we sign.
The speech was okay.
They said they wanted
once to make around 1
Should we do 2 then?
same thing. Same thing.
No, you take time. You're looking at the time.
Both at the same time. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Vice President and Presidential Candidate of the NPP. At this point, we'd like to bring the events to an end. We'd like to thank everyone being here. Our friends from the media, you still have to hold on. You're going to have a long day. On those notes, we'd like to thank you very much. Bless you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Chairperson. Before we also leave this place, we want to also communicate to you and the media that we have equally also made payments for all our 276 parliamentary candidates. And those which are filing at the various respective district offices. Thank you very much and thanks for a warm reception.
Thank you.
How many people are filing today? When you're not sleeping today. Wow.
So there you have it. The Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party has just filed his nomination, and it was attended by a lot of party members. We had the chairman there, some ministers, majority leader, etc. And the EC chairperson, Jean Mensah, says she's very confident that this time around, all the brouhaha going on or that went on last election year will be avoided. And so we're looking forward to the other parties to also file their nominations ahead of the December 7th elections. Now, the Energy Commission and Ministry of Energy, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service and Ghana TVET Service, presents the 5th edition of the Energy Commission Senior High Schools Renewable Energy Challenge. This challenge aims to develop the research skills of senior high school students and promote technological innovation in renewable energy. Competing fiercely in this thrilling competition are the following schools: Obuase Senior High and Technical School, St. James Seminary School, Ola Girls Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Bando Senior High School, Da Bogpa Technical Institute, and many others. Join us for the grand finale on Tuesday, 8th October 2024 at the Accra International Conference Center. And you can catch the broadcast live on Joy News at 9 a.m. This event is proudly supported by GIZ, Ashesi University, French Development Agency, VRA, and others. Other important pieces of information you should take note of: Joy News and an amalgam of professional bodies is organizing a public speaking event on the theme Transformed Individuals Transforming the World, a challenge for the religious community in Ghana. The speakers are Dr. Philip Engman, Dr. Mrs. Yvonne Yirinchua Eseku, Ambassador Sanda Ahmed, and the main speaker for the day will be Reverend Dr. Joseph Kofi Entry, and moderated by Philip Osei-Bonsu. He is host of Ekosi Seng on Asempa FM. This is happening on the 17th of September 2024 at 6:30 p.m. sharp at the British Council Hall. So for more information, please call 0244-220-427. And this event is powered by Joy News and Joy FM. And you don't forget that we have that Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair coming up. Let's go off the overpriced land, home ownership and furnishing deals. Get the best deals for all your housing needs at one place. Visit the EcoBank Joy News Mini Fair at Good Park near Accra Mall from the 13th of September to the 15th of September 2024. The fair is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily and admission is absolutely free. So you want to be there to engage with various stakeholders in the housing value chain for your home ownership needs. Remember, this is the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair on the theme, Get a House, Make It a Home. And it is proudly brought to you in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from cities and habitats, rent to own. And it's also sponsored by Elegant Homes, where quality meets value, and Safety Homes and Solutions. You think of a door, we have it. That's how we will be wrapping up. But also there, Hello Ghana, your favorite radio stations are back on tuning. I'm talking about Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Inshira FM. All your beloved multimedia group brands are back on tuning. Wherever you are, we've got you covered. Yes, Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Inshira FM are all back on tuning. So tune in to the best of news, music, sports, and entertainment from Ghana's top stations anytime, anywhere on TuneIn. So go to the App Store or Google Play Store to download TuneIn and listen to Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, or Inshira FM to stay connected and entertained. We'll be right back with more. Now, let's take you live to Kumasi, where the Ghana Bar Association is holding its annual bar conference. It started yesterday and will be on till the 13th of September. And this year's theme focuses on the importance of a peaceful, fair, and transparent elections. The Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II, President Akufo-Addo, the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, and Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Dame will be addressing the conference. And there's also a platform for the bar to select new leadership. And it's happening now. Let's cross over.